That's a car park on the end of my street.
Hello, quick update for those of you who aren't following me on Twitter or Facebook. Some of you might be aware that there have been floods in the Midlands and north of England. Worksop was hit badly. The river flows under part of the town through tunnels, and it reached capacity going through those tunnels and backed up, and everywhere downstream the river overflowed its banks. I live about 100 yards away from the river. My street flooded, the surrounding streets flooded, a big chunk of the centre of the town flooded. I woke up at 3 a.m. Friday morning to the sound of flowing water. Went downstairs, opened the front door, and while standing on my doorstep looking out, there was a river lapping at the bottom step of my door. Literally a river. I mean, it's not standing water. You think floods, yeah, you know, it's a lake out there. It was not a lake, it was a river. It was flowing, and it was flowing fast, and it was carrying a lot of debris with it. I watched a big blue barrel go floating by. I was sitting on my doorstep. There was a Polish girl sitting next to me having a fag, and I saw this barrel go by, and I pointed at it and said, "You see that? There's a giant shark towing that along." She was too young, I think, to have got the Jaws reference. She just looked at me like, what? I was amused. Anyway, standing in the kitchen of the house, it sounded... Have you ever stood next to a weir on a river? That's what it sounded like under the floor. While the water didn't reach the ground floor of the house, inside the house, it flooded the basement. It was pouring in from our backyard, which was like a sludge-filled river, swimming pool. The boiler and electricity junction box are in the basement, and the water was working its way up the junction box, and the circuits were going out one by one. You know, the lighting went out on the first floor and then on the ground floor, and in a kind of unpredictable order, things just stopped working. The smart thing to do would have been to turn off the electricity, but the basement is locked to keep the tenants out, to stop them tinkering with the junction box and stuff. So I'm glad that the electricity didn't reach the ground floor, because it would have been a serious hazard, you know, electrocution and crap. But that didn't happen. Yeah, so power went out, gas went out, water was very likely not safe to drink. I don't know what the time was, it was before 9. Rescue crews arrived and said, you know, does anyone want to leave? You couldn't walk out, there's the thing. I mean, technically you could wade out, but several reasons for not doing that. One is the water was full of raw sewage and fuel from vehicles and all kinds of other toxic substances. You don't want it on you. Also, there was a very, very strong current, and the deepest parts were up to waist depth. And you don't want to be wading through crap waist deep in a strong current. Just plain dangerous. But worse than that, and the thing I hadn't even considered, the current of the water is coming up through like drainage systems as well as along the road, and it's lifted manhole covers, and if you're wading along you can't see what your foot is going to go onto, and if there's no manhole cover and there's an open manhole, you go down that, you're dead, you're just not coming back. So about the noise, I've got a washing machine going in here. Hope you can hear me. I'll come closer. Yeah, so wading was not an option if you didn't want to risk death. So me and one other tenant, we elected to leave because no drinking water, no food that didn't need cooking. We didn't know how long we were going to be stuck there. We didn't know how long, you know, was the water going to keep rising. Some people chose to stay. I had an offer of like a sofa to crash on with a colleague and friend who I work with. Colleague kind of suggests I work with them. So yeah, I'm on her sofa. And I'm really grateful to her, because I would be sort of screwed. Getting to Joe's place was not an option, because all roads out of Worksop south blocked, flooded. I couldn't actually get to my car to drive out because there was a river between me and my car. Yeah, but the waters have subsided now. I've been back to the house. The fire brigade are there. They're pumping the water out of the basement, but the problem is, as fast as they pump it out of the basement, it pours back in from next door's basement and the swimming pool of sludge in the backyard, which isn't just in our backyard, it's all the way down the street. So that's going to take a while, and they need to get that pumped out before they can even think about getting electricity back. As for the boiler, well, I mean, God knows, but I don't care. Hot water, I can live without gas there. You know, there's a power shower. I don't cook with gas, just need electricity. If they can get that back, I'll be cool. That'll be fine. So, my stuff, I'm safe. My stuff is safe. You know, no damage. It's about it, really. It's been interesting, is what I would describe it as. To me, it's been a little bit of an adventure. It's inconvenient. It's not been, for me, a disaster. I feel for a lot of other people. I've been up and down the street and around the area, and for some people it has been a disaster. I've seen people like with their furniture just thrown out of the front of their houses, their lives seriously disrupted. For me, it's just like, got to get out of there for a few days until they get power back. So yeah, don't worry about me, I'm fine. But if you're wondering where's all the videos, well, yeah, okay, that's about all I've got to say about that. It's been real. Thank you for watching.